I don't want to have to make a whole new channel again.
Did you start that one? It's cool.
What's up, y'all?
Yeah. Welcome to the paddock. Talking F1, talking Bahrain. Welcome Instagram. Is your computer gonna die? Oh, never mind. I thought I saw a red light on there. Anyways,
better not.
Super stoked. We're gonna talk about some stuff tonight, guys. Thank you for joining on Instagram Live. The whole two of you guys that are on there. Appreciate the support. We're talking race results from Bahrain. We're talking F1 fantasy. We're talking Mercedes, Benz, AMG, Petronas Racing, whatever their team name
failure, design failure.
Ferrari is an absolute shit box, even though Carlos brought it home. Yeah. Derek?
Yeah.
What are your first comments? Let's dive into it.
Well, I think that the overall rules for the car designs, I think everything's going well. The on-track racing is super, super awesome.
Way closer.
Just fantastic, right? The battles are happening throughout all of the field. Even so, we could even talk qualifying. In Q2, everybody in Q2 was within a second,
which is like
of each other, which is crazy,
unheard of.
Crazy. So everything is so tight. I think the racing is just phenomenal already. First part of the year. Not happy that Mercedes is,
Mercedes Campbell over here.
They're doing terrible, but I think the racing on track has been really awesome.
What I will make a comment, actually, if you have any comments on Instagram, feel free to throw them up there and we will comment on them and feature them. Also, what I thought was comedy was Lando and Ocon battling for like 17th place, and they've had more television time on them than they did on Max.
Well, because Max hadn't, like, the entire race is just out in
had
a man's land by himself,
Yeah.
So it reminded me of like 2020 season of Lewis.
Yeah.
Where it was like, wait, what happened? Like, and so, yeah.
Any surprises for you?
I was really surprised about Leclerc. I thought that they had reliability, figured out.
Yeah.
And, so I was kind of disappointed because I want to see him win the championship.
Definitely. I mean, there's a lot of theories floating out there. I see the theory of Leclerc breaks up.
We're going to get into it?
Yeah, there's a couple different ones we can get into, right? So let's start with Leclerc. He broke up with his girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
So breaks up with his girlfriend. We're thinking he's going to use that motivation to go win a title.
Because that's what Lewis did, right?
Yeah, Lewis did the same thing. But my other theory is that, so last year, Red Bull's cars broke, didn't finish Bahrain.
Mm-hmm.
Max goes on to win the title. This is our own theory that we came up with over the weekend. So now I'm thinking Charles' car shitbox doesn't finish the first race. Does this mean he's
goes on to win the title? Because that ties into the other theory of, broke up with a girlfriend, gonna win the title.
Yes.
So he's got two kind of on his side. Also, there's another one, and
which one are you talking about?
You win the first race, you get second overall in the championship. Happened to Leclerc last year. I'm banking it's happened to Max this year.
Yeah, I mean,
but we don't know.
I know you're not a Max fan, but the other theory I saw, and Reina sent it to me, was Fernando Alonso joins the British team, or retires, takes like 2 years away from the sport, comes back, rejoins the British team, then goes on to win a title because they're actually in a really good car. So
didn't somebody else do that previously?
It was
Schumacher.
It wasn't Schumacher.
I think it was actually Schumacher.
Was it Schumacher?
Yeah, because he retired, came back to race for Mercedes, and I think won a title.
I'll have to go find the post again. But yeah, it could have very well been that, which is very exciting to see. There's that plot twist because actually I saw something really funny, a comment that Checo made. Checo said that he's like, nice to see three Red Bull cars.
Oh, I did see that.
And I was like, what does this mean?
I did.
But those are powered by Mercedes power units.
It is, but I think it's because their side pods are almost identical to Red Bull's. I think that's what that's talking about. But I thought that was pretty funny.
I'm trying to think who else really drove really well. Pierre, major comeback, starting 20th, coming back to 9th, I believe it was. So definitely step him. If you picked him in your fantasy, he did awesome. Great.
He got me like 20 points.
I was crying at the start of the race because I thought I was getting shafted, but he turned out really good investment.
You have Gasly on your team too.
Yeah, I had Gasly on my team for the fantasy and I already locked him in. I was going back and forth between like him, K-Mag, and Hulk, and then I was like, oh shoot, I should have picked Hulk, and then Hulk didn't end
Yeah.
up panning out, which he only got -1, so he wasn't like a bad.
Wasn't a huge liability.
Yeah, no, for
Wasn't
sure.
if you picked Leclerc
or Ocon.
or Ocon
Dude, Ocon, I think it's
or
like -14
McLaren as a
points.
team.
Yeah, I'm saying
We haven't even.
friendly
We
advice.
got to hit on that too.
Friendly advice: don't pick McLaren at all for your fantasy team.
Yeah.
Period.
Feel bad for Lando because he's a really good racer, and
Mhm.
oh man, they're just team is really taking a downturn since last year, unfortunately. Hopefully they can figure things out. I think it's interesting, you know, with the whole Oscar Piastri fiasco and that whole, I mean, he, you know, it really was I would say it was kind of a slap in the face to Alpine, who thought that he was their, you know, new driver coming in this year, even made a public statement about it. And then Oscar's like, oh, well, yeah, actually, no, that's not confirmed. That's not true. And then comes out and was like, I'm actually joining McLaren. And so they had a huge like legal dispute and stuff. So
speaking of legal disputes, De Vries is getting like sued by an old sponsor for like a pretty good chunk of change. I think it was like 250K or euros or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I don't know the insides and outs of that deal, but I just thought that was kind of funny.
Maybe we should research a little bit more and see if we can dig in.
Right.
But yeah, I think you sent me something on that,
which is pretty entertaining. I'm trying to think who else was big. I mean, the Alfa Romeos seemed to perform fairly well. Bottas was a good pick for fantasy as well. I saw Joe got some good points. Who else? Race results wise, I was like, I think Aston Martin was probably the biggest, not the biggest surprise. I mean, based on qualifying, they did really well.
Lance Stroll's race pace blew me away.
Stroll, yeah.
If you guys watched qualifying, and was it? Yeah, I guess it was just qualifying. Was it free practice 3?
Free practice, he was struggling.
It was yeah, that's what it was. It was free practice 3 that he was struggling. You saw he actually down the straight, he actually let go of his you know, broken wrist completely and kind of shook it out, and you know, it was like, and then going into the first turn specifically because it's real tight, he was letting go and coming underneath the steering wheel. So they usually grip both on, you know, and are turning like this.
If you think about it, it's kind of uncomfortable to be like,
oh yeah, totally. I mean, and they'll come all the way around, right?
Yeah, like so I would naturally want to take my hand off anyways once you get to a certain point.
Pulled it out, put it underneath, and was pushing up and let go with this hand to get it all the way around. But when you're talking 71 laps, how many laps was Bahrain?
No, 57.
57?
Yeah.
Okay, well, 57, but there's
then throughout the course of the
15
weekend,
turns.
Yeah, and throughout the course of the weekend, I mean, you're doing probably damn near close to 100 laps all weekend.
Yeah, did you see that Alonso told him that Stroll was his hero?
No, I did not see that.
Because of how he drove, like with a broken wrist.
Dude, that actually, thinking about it, almost 2 top 5s. I mean, that's like borderline.
They did good.
Top tier. I mean, this could be a 3-way battle for the title. At least starting off the first half. I mean, I'm here for it. I'm about it. Like, let's go. Like, the more cars that could be in the title fight, the better.
I mean, right now Red Bull and Aston Martin are 1 and 2. So.
I think Ferrari's going to get back in it. I just
for sure.
Shitty luck on Leclerc's part. Hopefully, it motivates him. Carlos was a silent 4th, right?
Yeah.
So, then like just a quiet 4th.
5th.
Yeah.
And
George was.
I think George got 8th. I think
because obviously
he got behind Stroll. I think even
I don't know. So, George Russell not P1, aka Zach Reyna. Everybody that hates me for hating George Russell. Actually, I do. I've been watching Drive to Survive, and I do have a little bit more respect for him after the Silverstone incident when he got taken out, clipped,
and he went
and helped out Joe.
Yeah,
that was cool. Even though he didn't really do jack shit, but he was there for moral support.
He actually called, like, I think
he was trying to hurry them up because. And you could, in hearing he
jumped down in though, even I think, and he was trying to push the car.
I think there was a clip they were all kind of like wedging themselves in there to try to help him out. I mean, just the hearing his side of it, like you're claustrophobic, right? That's like the shittiest situation you can get in is being trapped underneath the car.
Yeah.
And I could totally relate with that. And same thing with racing, right? When me racing motocross, I've been broken off laying on the track and you're just sitting there laying there waiting for somebody to come, whether it's an ambulance, whatever have you, medics.
Well, and how rare is like that a rider gets out and comes and helps you off the track.
No, exactly. So
granted, most of the time in motocross, they're still racing for quite a while. Like, a lot of times they don't red flag, right? Like,
right.
So yeah, I thought that was good.
I think race results, that's pretty much most of the report. I mean, Ocon had an
Yeah,
absolutely
and
terrible
we'll
race.
post like a recap of all of the results so you guys can see. But I think that was really the majority as far as race goes.
Big topics. I mean, there's some teams that
Mhm.
definitely didn't perform. Some teams that were just mediocre. They were going to be there.
Al-
Actually, let's give a shout out to
Alonso,
Williams. Williams with
yeah, Albon
Albon with the
points.
10th in
Yeah,
the first race.
yeah,
That's like unheard of. Williams in the
yeah.
top 10.
And
Good for them.
our US boy Sargent, he did good too. I think he got 12.
Yep, 12th,
Yeah.
and that was a solid drive in a shitbox car.
Yeah, I mean, shitbox is better than AlphaTauri.
Yeah, AlphaTauri is rough.
Better
Rough.
than McLaren,
Rough.
right?
Dude, that how do you think? How do you think Lando feels like? God damn, I could probably do better in a Williams.
Yeah. Well, hey, at least Lando has been with the team, right? That's all he knows is McLaren. He's been there. I think, how do you feel being Oscar Piastri, knowing that you screwed over Alpine, thinking you're going to get a better ride with McLaren, and you got a DNF?
God.
Yeah.
I mean, Daniel's living life right now. 18 mil in the bank. Saying sick. I don't have to drive that piece.
Yeah.
Which that's probably where all their budget went, was paying off Daniel. They can't drop the car. They paid him off to get out. So
no, because driver salary doesn't go into the cost cap.
Oh, okay.
So
that was probably the best move Daniel could have made. As much as I hate to,
as much as it wasn't his choice.
Yeah. But I mean, he won out at the end of the day for like his well-being. Like, I'm stoked for him. You know, that at the end of the day, you can't complain with that.
I really hope it's not the end of us seeing him.
Yeah, I'm curious where he could get. Dude, stick him in AlphaTauri. I wonder how you're doing that. Did he drive that back in the day?
I don't know that he did,
because he was a Red Bull kid, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. I mean, it's possible. I don't. That was before I really was watching.
I think I mentioned this in the last episode, but Lando signing like a 4 or 5 year extension with McLaren. Who knows if that's even going to last till the last? You know, McLaren could be out of business by the time he gets to the end of that contract. Let's be honest. But I'm sure he was like, "Damn it, why did I do this?" I'm all for the quadrant. I'm all for Lando.
Last year, you're looking good. You know, last year the team's looking good. So
are we gonna say good? Fair? Can we say fair?
Did they get 5th in the overall
constructors?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what they finished, but I mean, I'm sure they wanted to be fourth for sure.
They did. Yeah, they did. I mean, they're last. They're better. I mean,
Daniel did win with them last year, so
I know.
So I mean, they did something.
I think we can't. This is just my hopes and dreams that we can't count out Mercedes right now, that they still can figure this car out. I did see a quote by Toto Wolff that they are canning that car design. They already have another one kind of in the works that they're going to start. I don't know if that's a real quote. Yeah.
Can you like totally change the design of your car mid season?
100%. You just have to make sure it's not out of the budget.
I wonder how much that affects them, though. Okay, cool. We're just gonna scrap this car. It's a piece of shit. Let's move on to the next one, and that goes half our budget out the window.
Look at how well they're. Well, Lewis even says, "Look, Aston Martin's half our car, right? Basically half a Mercedes. It's got the Mercedes powertrain. It's got the Mercedes gearbox. It's got the Mercedes rear suspension. All of that is basically the meat and potatoes of the race car." All the other shit is basically a Red Bull. So if Mercedes, totally. If Mercedes just copies Red Bull, I mean, Aston Martin's showing the potential there. So
why don't you just
maybe that's what they'll do?
If they were a little bit smarter, they'd take the Ferrari, because obviously it can perform, but then also take a little bit of the Red Bull, smash it together, and that'd be like the ultimate baby. I think that's what you got to do to take down Red Bull at the end of the day.
Yeah.
No, I think they're definitely going to improve. I did see Toto's comment too. They're saying that they are not going to be in the competition right now with the package they have, and they're bringing those upgrades, which I don't know if that includes bringing a whole new car. If that just means upgrades. If that means all the above. So that'll be interesting.
I'm interested to see. Yeah.
I mean, they won last year. So, I mean, I'm not going to count them out of not getting a win this year. I'm not going to, like last year for sure. I was like, no, Mercedes ain't winning anything. Yeah. So
they came back at the end of the season, right?
Yeah.
And they were showing good race pace. They had a decent race pace like mid-season, and then they kind of lost it, and then they kind of, they got it back, obviously. So again, I won't count them out. I'm still a Mercedes fanboy. Well, you know
can
what?
pop
Like,
that emoji in the edit, that'd be great.
I can. So even though like I follow some of the pages, right, on like Facebook, and somebody was like going off on another, like, somebody else in the Mercedes fan group, because you're not a good fan if you're only with them when they're winning, right? Like, you're a good fan if you stick through it when they are sucking to it.
That's why I'm a McLaren fan, even though they shafted.
Are you?
I'm starting to lose it. To be honest, I'm starting to lose it. And now I'm going to a shittier team because I was about the AlphaTauri, because I have an AlphaTauri beanie. I got some AlphaTauri swag
You know what?
coming, and I'm
You know
ready
what?
for
Just
it. But
please don't ever start liking Mercedes. I want them to win.
So you thinking if I start liking them, they're not going to ever win?
Yeah.
God, maybe I should do that.
It's got to be authentic.
Right. So it seems like that's pretty much all the race results we
I
can
think this is the
cover.
biggest
There's
thing,
obviously
yeah.
some quiet drives out there, nothing to really comment on. K-Mag
I was
did the
gonna
Viking
say,
as well. So
good battles, that like Alonso had a good battle with Lewis, and then he had a battle a little bit with Sainz, but it wasn't nearly as good.
kind of rolled over him.
Yeah, Lewis came back with him at him once, and so they had like a double pass. That was better.
Yeah.
That was better. Sainz didn't really put up much of a fight.
Let's dive into
But it
fantasy.
was good. Let's do it. I love me
Fantasy.
some fantasy.
We have 32 teams.
My team's doing well.
32 teams in the fantasy league,
Yeah.
and we've only promoted this like maybe a week.
Yeah, so you guys, if you want to join our fantasy league too, I'll post it in the comment, or not in the comments section, but in the
bio.
In the
Is that what you're
no, like, when you talk about what's in this video.
Not comments. What is the bio? It's bio. It's bio. The title. Bio.
The title.
All that shit. I don't know.
Yeah. The description. Video description.
There you go.
That's what it is. I'll put a link and our code so you guys can join that too. I think most of our followers are actually already.
Yeah, they're already.
But
and if you already did make a team, and for some reason you're not joined, or you have friends that have a team but aren't in our league, your points will roll over. I did see that from one of our other friends this weekend.
If you already have a team, you can join the team and it'll all roll into that.
So you're not missing out on points.
If you haven't and you want to do a team, you're going to miss out on the first race, but make sure you get a team in now, because you'll get all the rest. It's a long season too. Anything can happen.
There's going to be goodies. We're working on them.
We're working on some stuff.
We're just not there yet.
My team's in second. I'm pretty proud of that.
Actually, I need everybody to message us what your team
is.
you
guys need to let us know.
3 of you guys. The rest of them, I don't know who
anybody
have no
idea whose team is, who we know that has actually entered.
Other than Jordan's is Roscoe's Dog Food Budget, which is comedy.
We love it.
Comedy. But yeah, and there's a story highlight reel on our bio that gives you updates on the points. I'm going to try to continue to do it after qualifying when they update, and after the race when they update.
Yeah, I might also do a quick kind of tutorial on the fantasy, kind of what the points system is meaning and how you can access that. Just because it was really hard for me to find my own searching YouTube. So if it helps you guys.
And some people killed it this week, like absolutely destroyed. I don't even know how some of you guys had.
Oh my God. The top worldwide was 377 points. I didn't even know how that was possible.
I think in our league, the best person's got 360 something, 361.
Was it 360?
I think so. So, I mean, number one in our league, whoever you are, it does not give you wings. I don't know who you are, but you smashed it.
Nice
I'm
work.
Really angry at you.
Nice.
I will say I did go up from qualifying to, I'm in the top 10 in our league, which I was pretty stoked about that. I was like outside the top 10, and then after the race I went up. But yeah, no, 32 people, and we barely promoted this, so I'm very stoked on that.
Yeah.
Definitely imagine if we started promoting it sooner. This was like last minute decision, like let's do F1 fantasy.
Yeah.
And then you guys joined in.
Well, it's pretty much everybody in the league that we know. It's everybody's first year. So we're all just kind of feeling this out, learning. And I guess this year has a lot of new rules too. So it's perfect time to get in, because we're all newbies. You're not going to win any cash, but we have some other stuff.
We got money.
We got
money coming next year.
Blow up this channel, and then we'll have a lot of money to give you.
Easy, Oprah.
Yeah, you get a car. But you do have to let us know who you are and what team you are, because otherwise we can't get you swag. We have no idea. There's no way to contact you through the league, right?
Yeah, there's no like a bulletin. You can't message, I don't think.
So
that's kind of
we could also start like a Slack or something and have everybody.
Is that like Discord?
Or Discord? Yeah, it's just another one.
Yeah, we can't do group text because Sean has a green message when he texts me, so we're not doing that. I'm not dealing with green messages in my iPhone. If you create the message green, you're banned from my group text. But no, yeah, I mean, there's definitely some good battles. Some people killed it in qualifying and then struggled and they
Mhm.
dropped a lot in fantasy. And then there's some other people that obviously does not give you wings, killed it in qualifying and in fantasy. So I'm a little upset.
But
Just
I
very
think,
competitive.
I think maybe you blew your 3-time multiplier a little early.
Yeah, I mean, there's some
A
theories
little
out there
early.
on
But
what to do and what not to do.
yeah, but it did work out in your favor. You had a really good race. I'm aiming for you in round 2.
I
Uh,
think if we get a weather race, I think that'll make a big difference.
mhm.
I think if we get
Well, the sprint races are gonna
sprint race will be a big
make
difference
things
too.
really
Yeah.
spicy too, and I think it's gonna be really interesting.
That's
So we'll
probably
see. The hardest part for me is that my fantasy team is not who I actually want to win in real life. So I'm rooting for people sort of in the background that I don't necessarily want to win, but I know is gonna help my fantasy team.
I feel like
It's a new
that's
dilemma for me.
everybody, right? Like
Yeah,
any fantasy you do, whether it's baseball, football, motocross, whatever, you're doing fantasy and you're like, man, I
yeah,
don't really want to pick them, but I know they're gonna kill it in points. So I have
exactly.
to pick
Yeah,
them. But then when
yeah,
the race is happening, you're like, oh, come on. Come on, Lando, get up in there.
yeah.
But you're
You can do
totally
it.
gonna ruin my
Do
points
it.
if you pass them.
Yeah.
So
I think at the end of the day, I'd be more happy if who I want to win
one.
destroys my fantasy team
Yeah.
and they actually won.
Yes, we know you're
But
just
since
blowing Lois,
but since
blowing
Lewis
Lois.
is, and Mercedes is doing shitty, sorry, I'm going with Max at the moment. Prove me wrong. Let me change.
I will say, I think it's going to be a matter of time. There's going to be a mechanical by each team, right? Like it happens every year.
It
It's
does.
either you get taken out or you just have like what Charles happened. I mean, there's nothing he could have
Well,
done.
so
Blew a
also
motor, whatever it was,
remember there's a lot of like gearbox or engine penalties too. Like, even Red Bull took extra penalties last season because
to make sure that they could get the car
they
to the end
took extra
and get the points.
engines.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they could, right? So it happens. I mean, look at Lewis. 2021 he started there was a sprint race for Brazil. He started at the very end because he took an engine and he had a penalty. And then he ended up, I don't know, coming up top 10 for the sprint race, and then he ended up winning the Grand Prix. So things can happen, but typically if you're starting dead last because of an engine penalty, it's just damage control at that point. But if
I
you
think
get a ton of overtakes, that does help your fantasy team.
well, that's why Gasly killed it so much.
Mhm.
He didn't make it out. He got a track limit, so that deleted his lap time. So he didn't make it out Q1. So that's why I was
Yeah.
really paranoid. But then he came back and he got like 20 something points because he made 10 overtakes.
And that's why Hulkenberg didn't do as well, because he's qualified higher and
Yeah.
then he dropped back.
Went backwards.
Mhm.
I know we talked about it. I feel like that's my unless you got anything else to add on fantasy.
Nope, I think this is the biggest thing.
Yeah. A lot of good competition there. We've got some swag coming. We're just waiting on people to get back to us.
Yeah.
Mercedes, I know we talked about it a little bit. Is there anything else you want to add on the car? Was that really it?
No, I think that's really I think the drivers are great. I think the team is the strategy.
These drivers are great. Sorry.
You hate that I love them so much.
No, dude, their car actually looks great this year. The back in black.
I do.
Oh,
the Darth Vader car, man. I was hoping that it would be just like balls to the wall, just fingers flying,
Yeah.
But not the case.
Can't win them all.
No.
So I know we kind of dabbled in it, but let's talk about how much of a shitbox Ferrari is. I don't know if it's obviously it was just Leclerc's car, but you would think this is a new year, new Ferrari. They figured it out. They got a new team principal, yada yada, and no, it still just couldn't handle it. But I mean that's not anything against Ferrari. It just goes with the storyline. Red Bull last year, they didn't finish the first race. Both cars didn't finish the first race. At least Ferrari got one.
It fits our race theory that
yeah,
Max is getting second and Charles is getting first.
I hope this blows up next year. I hope this blows up because that'd be sweet if we called that.
That would be sick.
Yeah. I don't know. Carlos, did he just lose pace and just couldn't hang? Or like why did
I'm not real sure. Yeah, it just seems like he couldn't.
Tires, I don't know.
Because even I think Lewis was catching up to him too.
Mm-hmm. So, towards the end, yeah, he was like, it was about to get it, and then we were all praying, and then I lost track because I was praying for Albon just to make it because I was stoked for Albon because I think Albon's like killer driver. Love
Yeah.
to see him in the sport.
He's just a nice kid too. Like
You want to see him.
he's a cutthroat on the track, which you have to be,
Yeah.
no matter how nice you are. But then he's just a nice person in general overall.
That's like the mega underdog team, I think.
Mhm.
And you just want to see that team do good.
Well, and I think
Not that
after
George is
seeing after seeing him struggle at Red Bull being
Yes.
Max's and then basically losing a ride completely to be able to come back after
Is he still
a
on his
couple
Red Bull
years.
deal this year? Or no,
I'm not sure.
because remember last year he had a Red Bull helmet on, which was sick.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Was
So-
he? Did he do reserve stuff for them last year?
No, he was a test driver, and then he went to Williams. But then at Williams, he still had a Red Bull helmet.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's still sponsored by them, like
Which
somewhat,
I don't
yeah.
know how they do that because Monster sponsors Mercedes, and Williams is the farm team for.
Well, but does Monster sponsor Williams?
I don't know. Well, no, because
'Cause-
George didn't have his Monster sponsorship at Williams.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to
So-
remember too. It's
Red Bull's just like, yeah, let's just throw.
well,
it.
sometimes drivers are sponsored by
Yeah.
companies outside of, that's why they bring backing sometimes to teams too. So I almost think sometimes those inner
Do you think
changes
Do you think that helped out Williams a little bit? Maybe they got some Red Bull support, slight, minor.
potentially,
Minor
right?
Red Bull
Because
support.
just like Mercedes, maybe they got De Vries, right? They basically sponsor him, but
Mhm.
he's driving the AlphaTauri, so maybe they have some type of.
Intermingle.
I don't know exactly. Obviously, he's in a pickle conundrum, De Vries, right? Because he took money to, I think, get into F2 from a company with the understanding that he would pay them back if he got into F1. And then, I mean, De Vries is 28, right? And I think this contract,
28?
yeah. And I think this contract happened when he was like 21, 22. And I think he didn't think he was going to get an F1 drive. So I don't know if he just blew the money. I don't know. Right. Like, oh, well, I don't have to pay it back. I'm not getting into F1. And then he went and raced Formula E and was champion there. And then he was reserve driver for Mercedes.
He's on the same program, or he was the same program that Mick is.
Right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then he had a debut with Williams, I think, scored points.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's when his then contract became like, oh, well, you have to pay us because you just race in an F1, or if it's now. So I'm not, I know there's something there, but
You know what I have a question about? So every other sport, right? There's normally like win bonuses per the team or like a pro purse. And we know you made the video. We talked about how much money is in F1. So is like Max making money, like pro purse money from F1, or is it just in his contract? Like, hey, dude, you make a shitload of money. Like, you're not making any. additional money. Like, how does that work?
He gets a bonus from the team.
Got it. And
So,
same thing
the
with like
team gets extra money when they win, right? And when
Mhm.
he wins, like then he gets an extra bonus for winning.
got it.
But I believe that comes out of the team.
So then is that like first through 10th then gets bonus money? Because obviously not everybody like points are only
Right.
paid out
Yeah,
first through
yeah.
10th. So why would they pay out any bonuses past?
I think the biggest are like first, second, and third.
Yeah, and that's
I'm sure everybody does get like a little bit down the line, but and then I think it's the team's discretion if they want to pay you a bigger bonus.
Yeah, I'm
or
sure
not,
if like you got a guy like Max, maybe they're not paying him as much because they're already paying him a shitload. So then like, or but maybe Sergio maybe a little bit less, and then maybe they're like, hey, you got a better bonus because we want you to perform.
Yeah.
I can see that. But then also Max is a stubborn SOB, and he probably is like, now give me all the money.
Probably, yeah. I don't care if Checo has any money. I don't care if he gets second. Like as long as I'm winning, give me all that.
I think you're better.
You think what?
I think you're better. You just want to hate him.
Dude, I want to like him. He never gives me a reason. Every time I think, oh, you know what? Like Max is kind of grown up. No, he does some fucking asshole thing, and he just makes me. It just reiterates the fact of like, oh, you know what? My instinct about him was right 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and it just hasn't changed.
I feel like you have the same feelings about Max as I do about Lewis.
Why do you hate Lewis?
Well, maybe it's the theory that when you win so much that you just don't want to like that person. But I got into F1 when he wasn't winning, or like he was winning a lot, but he wasn't. He obviously didn't win the title. That was like I think my first full season was watching him and Max battle, and Max ended up winning it. And obviously, I got into it the typical American way of watching Drive to Survive. So I think they do paint. I don't know. I think Drive to Survive actually paints Lewis in a great light, and they're definitely trying to use some certain aspects of economy, personality and certain cards out there. I will say that. I think they definitely try to push that agenda to make everybody like Lewis. And I just think maybe because he was so good, I don't know. I just think he plays the I came from nothing card, which he did. I'm not going to say he didn't. He comes from nothing card, but then he lives like a damn king or queen, you know? Like he has
has he not earned it?
No, for sure.
You know,
he has earned it.
I would say
maybe be different too if I was in that situation. Like I say like if I hit the lottery tomorrow, I wouldn't change my lifestyle, but maybe I would. I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd probably pay off my house. I'd probably buy a couple toys, but I wouldn't go roll around like, hey, we're going to go to Monaco every year and we're going to do this. I'm going to buy a PJ and all that stuff like that. I feel like I wouldn't change my lifestyle in that sense.
Okay, but let's say you won 8 lotteries. Would you then? Okay, mate, he's only won 7, but yeah.
And you still think he deserves 8?
Yeah, 100%. Well, here's the thing is, I think Lewis uses his story to try and inspire other people who are coming from nothing to not give up and to look, if I can do it, you can do it, right? He didn't finish high school. He went back and like got his GED. He was dyslexic till he was like 12 years old, or like he couldn't read. Like so he had like a lot of different learning disabilities. So he's really overcome a lot of hurdles. I don't know that he plays the race card, but in general, that gets thrown out around him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I can't speak on that because I just don't know what that's like. I can only imagine or think, but I'm sure that wasn't easy in a sport where people are already really snotty.
It's like
so to be poor and black, right? Like can't be easy. So, but maybe that was a motivator too of like, maybe that's one of the things of why he's so successful and why he's pushed so hard, again, I just like the fact of like, I think he's really fucking good. And I like that and I respect that.
I'm not gonna say he's not talented.
Yeah. And I think, in my opinion, I think that his race craft is a lot better in the sense of he'll finesse things more than he'll try and bully his way. Typically, I know there's some controversial issues, but even going back and watching, let's say like him and Max's battle, watching the onboards and watching the things, it seemed like taking everybody's like perspective out of it and just looking at the cameras, it seemed like, okay, Lewis is still turning away from Max when he hits the tire at Silverstone, right? And then you see Max's on board and you see a little bit of this when he hits Lewis. So things like that is like, you can't dispute the video of it, right? Like, and I know that, they both do and whatnot, but that's just my opinion. I think he's more finesse and more, now I don't know why he hit Albon twice and flew him off. Damn it. But
all the people
there is racing incidents and things that happen. I will say that I think he's also a good person just off the track, which is one of the reasons I really respect him. I think that he's not like this macho vibrato type person. I think he was definitely more cocky when he was younger. I think he's a lot more humble now, which I respect. And I guess I see a lot of myself in him in that aspect of like, I just think he's like a kind person. I don't know. That's just kind of the feel. And I love that he's like all about charity and all about helping people, I don't know. I just really respect a lot of what he uses his platform for.
So one thing another thing while you were saying all this comes to me. I think another reason I don't like him, I feel like he cries a lot. And I think every driver does. It's not just him. Max cries about stuff. Yeah. Alonso was crying about somebody hitting him, which was Stroll. There's like every driver cries about something, right? And I come from a different sport. It's just kind of like you just deal with it, right? And you handle it on the track.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, one reason too. I'm like, dude, like you can't be like, oh, he's not allowed to do that. Like, obviously he did it, and then go pass him back. Like, stop. That's why you're on the track. Like, just you gotta feel like then. Like,
I feel like Lewis is better than most of them about like, it's hard. I think it's an emotional sport. Like racing's emotional.
No, for sure.
Like all sports, but I feel like it's hard not to have that initial like, all right, well, fuck that guy. Like, what the hell? Or they're not supposed to, especially in the previous years, because all of those radio transmissions were heard by the FIA and all of that, right? And the pit bosses could talk to the director, right? The race director, and then remember that whole controversy.
They changed that rule, right?
So I think that's why it used to be even worse, drivers complaining, because, and even now I still think they hear the driver stuff. So then they know what to look for. That's why they complain more and more. Otherwise
it's almost like a flop in soccer or basketball or whatever. They flop to get the car to get some assistance, whether it's a position back or a penalty.
But I think Max is whining in practice about people getting in his way and not getting out of his way in the midfield.
We see that,
and it's like too. What's that?
We see that in dirt bikes too. Like guys will get pissed off when they're on their heater lap, and then they're like, "Dude, why is this guy in the main line? He shouldn't have been in the main line." So, I get that. I think I do have respect for Lewis as an athlete being so good. He definitely, as much as I hate to say it, is probably the GOAT of F1. But it's also a different era. Like the Schumacher is also I feel like Lewis and Schumacher are tied right now. If Lewis goes and gets another title, then for sure, by all means, I'll give him that title until somebody else takes it, whether it's Max, whether it's the next kid on go-karts.
Well, and I mean, season's longer now. There's a lot more races, so it's easier. Maybe not championships. Maybe championships are a little harder or different. Maybe not harder. You just, you have more opportunity. But I would say, Lewis is breaking a ton of records. Not in the last couple of years, but he had all these race wins, all these, so. And now seasons are getting longer. So I think in the next 10 years, somebody's going to blow his stats out, and maybe not. Maybe teams are going to stay closer and there's going to be less people getting huge, all the winnings. I don't know, but.
Last thing, because this was definitely sidetracked us. But the one thing I will say too is I hate, and this isn't just Lewis, this is anybody that says you could do anything you want to do. You could be anything you want to be.
Yeah.
Well, no, let's be honest. You can't. I can't go become an F1 driver. My kid, if I wanted to, could not become an F1 driver. If I had a kid tomorrow and I put him in a go-kart from as soon as he can walk, because there's got to be some things in play. Like you got to have some serious coin, or you got to have somebody backing you. So it's especially F1. If you want to go race cars of some kind, sure, you could go be a race car driver, whether it's stock cars, NASCAR.
Yeah, but I think what it is look, don't give up. You'll find a way.
I think it's a lot harder. Found a way. I think back then it was a lot different.
I don't know. I think there was just different hurdles, maybe, right?
Inflation. I don't know. I think it's a good conversation though. I'm always willing to hear somebody out on why, because I could say whether it's Yuki, whether it's whoever, I'd be like, oh, I can't stand Latifi, and somebody could argue with me why Latifi is a good person driver, whatever. I mean,
he probably is a good person. He's a terrible driver.
He's Canadian. I mean.
That's true.
But so is Lance Stroll, and I'm still not a fan of Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll has gotten better.
Lance has grown on me in the last couple of years. I think he's really matured. I think I don't hear him whining all the fucking time like I did before. So I watch all the practices, right? So that was a big thing when I was talking about people even a couple seasons ago why I wasn't a huge Max fan, because they're like, oh, well, he's the underdog and he's this and he's that, and it's like, man, there's just this air about him that rubs me the wrong way. And part of it is how he treats his teammates, oh, I don't give a fuck if you're fighting I'm going to take 6th and you get 7th. And I think that was the first time that other people saw what I saw, because I used to see that kind of attitude in the practices when it was and it was always just about him. And I think now other people are starting to see, dude, you've already won the championship. Why you're not, it's not like another race stat of a win or anything.
Yeah, I think for the sake of the team, looking at it from a team's perspective, he should have definitely given that. So then they would have locked up a 1-2, right? That's definitely a dick move. The other thing though I will say is you definitely just kind of, in the same regard, I have the respect that he is just an absolute savage and he's gonna do whatever he takes to, and you got to be selfish as a racer at the end of the day. But I know it's unpopular opinion, but I
don't disagree, but I think there's a time and a place to be extra savage.
Yeah.
Trust me, dude, I'm so competitive. I might be the nicest guy right here, but I'll fucking destroy some people, I am, but there's a time and there's a place. And I think that was just a very selfish move.
No, for sure. But at the same time, I will give Max his credit. He is very consistent in what he does. His attitude is consistent. His
Yeah, he's just gonna
results,
be an asshole
his
all the
results
time.
are consistent. No, exactly.
No,
Like, would you rather like? I'd rather him be just consistent and like you don't have to guess what he's gonna do. You don't think he's gonna be a dick one day and then he's gonna be soft the next day and
yeah.
et cetera, right? So
I mean, you know what you're gonna get,
yeah,
right?
So.
It's not that I don't have respect in, you know, like he's a great driver. I've always thought he was a great driver. You know. All right. There's our tangent.
Yeah, we got derailed.
Guys, it was overall, it was a super, super exciting race. Really stoked to just see the continuation of this season. All the racing's getting tighter. If you guys have the opportunity to check it out, definitely watch some.
Oh, yeah, actually, I want to add, I did look at tickets went on sale for Coda today.
I don't know. I sent you the thing
today or yesterday. I forgot what day it was. Tickets went on sale for Coda Circuit of the Americas, and I was gonna pull the trigger and I couldn't get myself to do it.
$500 a ticket, huh?
For
just like regular.
It was $475. So, and those
was that for the 3-day?
That was 3-day, $475, $425 for the 2-day, and so the reason I couldn't justify it, even though I should go because we have the F1 channel. We're all about F1. I'm sure it's the experience. I couldn't get myself to do it because I'd rather watch it on TV so I could see every single angle. Something happens, I'm going to see it instantly. I can replay it, rewind it, whatever.
They probably have big screens that do that.
Versus there, I'm going to sit there. I'm going to see a car for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see it 70 times because that's how many laps they do. And it's just like,
sometime we're going to go. So, you know.
No, like I totally want
to update them on like, you know, I was totally wrong.
Yeah, amazing. No, I hope I'm wrong, and maybe
if you guys have been, comment, let us know how awesome it is or not.
Maybe if it like
is
you
it
said,
worth the money?
We were talking offline. You said if we had paddock
I think
passes,
we have, like
it'd be a little bit different
because then you're getting like just a different experience, not just about the race, right? All the other stuff. Plus, then we could film more content.
Or say you were in Vegas and you're on one of the hotels and you can look out and see it too, and then you could have a TV.
I think that would actually be really fun.
That's ideal.
I think that would be fun. Like in Monaco, having one of the hotels and you can see a lot of the track.
Yeah.
And be watching it that way too.
I mean, whoever's got a yacht wants to sponsor the channel. Feel free to slide in either of our DMs.
Yeah.
The channel's DM on Instagram, official F1 America.
We're not above wearing skimpy. We'll make little F1 booty shorts, you know, little swim trunks.
Wear them on your banana hammocks over there.
Oh, well, I'll wear a banana hammock too.
I'm not saying I'm not willing to do it, but all right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us tonight.
Yep.
Live from the paddock.
Share, subscribe. Thank you guys.
Follow us on Instagram, official F1 America, the league F1 America Fantasy 2023. You'll see my name in there is Team Ant-Man.
Team Sailing Stone.
Sailing Stone.
Yep.
Anybody else? Comment your name so I know who you are.
Yeah. Bye,
Good night.
Guys. Thanks.
If you guys are still on here, I don't know if you are or not because I never saw any comments.